Welcome, my friends, to another edition of the Heritage Wealth Planning YouTube channel. Today is why you're paying me the big bucks, because I'm going to give you some information that is, if you are in the right category, it could literally be tens of thousands of dollars in your pocket if you did not watch this episode. So keep watching. If you are born in 1950, 1, 2, and 3, or if you know somebody who's born in 1950, 1, 2, or 3, watch the whole entirety of this video, because we're going to talk about Social Security planning that is available for you, that is no longer available for me or anyone else born on January 2nd, 1954 and beyond. So even if you're born on January 1st, 1954, this is still applicable. But to make it simple, basically, if you're born between 1950 and 1953, this episode is for you. What happened was, in 2015, President Obama signed new rules and legislation that drastically changed how we can apply for Social Security for spouses. It used to be that a spouse could file what's called a restricted application. You might have heard something called file and suspend, where you can file for your benefits, but suspend it in order to allow you or your spouse to get the spousal benefits and allow your own benefits to keep growing each and every year at what's an 8% clip. That's called delayed earnings credits. So again, you file, but you don't take your own benefit. You take your spousal benefit and allow your own benefit to grow at 8% a year each and every year until you hit 70. So wonderful strategy. I don't want to say abused, but probably somewhat abused relative to what Social Security was trying to accomplish. But at the end of the day, it was fair, it was legal, everything was fine. In 2015, though, they changed all that. Now there's no longer a file and suspend or the restricted application, except for this small cohort of people, 1950, 51, 52, and 53. And that's it. And come those years behind us, there's no more file and suspend or restricted application. So let's talk about how this works, because it's absolutely fantastic. First, I'm going to share with you my blog post I did on this just the other day on March 14th, 2018. So go to joshscanlon.com. It's sitting right there, at least right now it is. Type in if you're looking at this in April and there's a bunch more content on there, which there will be. You'll need to type in 1954 in the search button right down here, and this article will show up. Actually, let me minimize myself there. There we go. And so just as an FYI, this is my blog where I do lots of different financial planning related topics. I like to blog. I like the video, as I said before, because I'm kind of a visual learner. And so I do like the video as well. But this is my blog. We talk about restricted applications. And I give you an example here as well. I'm going to share with you a different example from going back to our topic that we had with Jane and Bob, though. We're going to go over them here real quick. But here's the link where Social Security describes what a restricted application is. And here we go. So this is directly from the SSA.gov, the frequently asked questions, FAQ.SSA.gov. Can I restrict my application for benefits and apply only for my spousal benefits and delay filing for my own in order to receive delayed retirement credits? I call them delayed earnings credits, the same thing. And here's the answer. If you turned 62 before January 2nd, 2016, i.e. before you were born before January 2nd, 1954, the new deemed rules will not apply if you file for at full retirement age or later. That means that you may file for either your spouse's benefit or your own retirement benefit without deeming to file for the other. In your case, you may restrict your application to apply only for your spousal benefits and delay filing for your own retirement in order to earn delayed retirement credits. However, if you turn 62 on or after January 2nd, 2016, i.e. if you were born January 2nd, 1954 or beyond, you are required to file for both your own and or your spousal benefits no matter what age you are. So for me, if I go to the Social Security office and I say I want to file for my spousal benefits, they're going to pay me the more of my own benefits or my spousal benefits. There's no second around that. That's just what they're going to pay. If you were born, lucky enough in some way to be born before January 2nd, 1954, you can go down there and say, I want to deem myself to get my spousal benefits while I'm allowing my own benefits to keep growing with the delayed retirement credits, which you'll see right here. All right, so that's a big deal. Now, on top of that, here's the other link on socialsecurity.gov. It talks about divorcees too. You don't have to be married for this, guys. If you're divorced, as we talked about in my last episode right there, I'll link to it. If you're divorced, but your marriage lasted 10 years or longer, you can receive benefits on your ex-spouse's record, even if they have remarried. If you are unmarried, your age 62 or older, your ex-spouse is entitled to receive benefits. And the benefit you are entitled to is less than your own benefit. If that is you as a divorcee or a current spouse, as long as these things are applicable, and it's all based on the year you were born, or actually the specific day. Now, here we go. We're going to talk right here. If you were born before January 2nd, 1954, and have already reached retirement age, full retirement age, 66, you can choose to receive only divorced spouse benefit and delay receiving your own benefit until a later date. And that's what deemed applications are, restricted applications are, file and suspend. All these terminologies all talk about the same thing. And the only thing that matters to you, my friends, is when you were born. If you were born January 1st, 1954, all the way to 1950, you need to be looking at this because you can make a lot more money on Social Security than someone born January 2nd, 1954. So let me give an example how this works. And we're going to go back to Jane and Bob. So remember, Bob is a radiologist making big money. In fact, he made the max you could do in Social Security. He made the maximum amount you could make in terms of his Social Security benefit. Jane stayed home and raised the kids, and then when the kids went out of school, she worked for a nonprofit, making a little bit of money. But at the end of the day, Bob's average index monthly earnings was 91.44, which after you take in the factoring rate of this right here, that meant his PIA. It gets confusing, but it's so important. His primary insurance amount. The amount he will get at full retirement age at 66 is $2,800 a month. Jane's AIME is only $2,000 because she only worked a little bit at a nonprofit, not making much money. Her PIA, based on her record, is $1,159. Again, the PIA, the primary insurance amount, the amount of money you will receive as a Social Security beneficiary when you hit your full retirement age. In Jane and Bob's account, it's at 66. Now, remember, in this case, it matters not if Jane and Bob are still married or not. It doesn't matter. As long as Jane, we're going to use Jane, as long as they were married for over 10 years and Jane is not remarried, that's all that matters. So they could be a spouse, they could be divorced. It doesn't matter. So we're just going to assume they're married. But for you divorcees, it still applies to you here too. All right. So quiz 1. Jane's PIA is $1,159. What's the benefit she will get when she hits 66? The answer is 1159. Just call me Josh Trebek. That is the answer. That is the amount of money she'll get from Social Security once she hits 66 based on her record. Let me change that screen just a tad. All right, so her benefit is 1159. Now, because Bob had a bigger benefit significantly than Jane, it'd actually be more beneficial for Jane to take her spousal benefit at 66 because a spousal benefit is 1/2 of her spouse's full benefit at PIA. It's 1/2 of her spouse's PIA amount. In this case, his PIA is 2809. So Jane would get half that, which dwarfs her own PIA. All right. So in this case, we'd say, Jane, wait till your full retirement age and don't take your own benefit because that'd be crazy talk, but instead take your spousal benefit. However, this is where the trick of the trade comes, and you got to pay attention. What if Jane were to say, I was born before January 2nd, 1954. I'm going to march on down to the Social Security office and I'm going to file for my own spousal benefit, but I'm going to restrict the application on my benefit. What would the difference be? So here we go. Every year, you get a delayed earnings credit. Every year you avoid taking Social Security, and when you hit FRA, you get what's called delayed earnings credit, which equals 8%, not compounded, but just a simple 8% a year increase. All right, so in this case, Jane at age of 66, we got 1159. Now remember, she's getting $1,400 a month already when she hits 66 on her spousal benefit, but she's allowing her own benefit to grow. At 67, at times it's 8% more than that. At 68, it's 16% more than that. At 69, it's 24% more than that. And then at 70, it's 32% more than that. So her benefit is $1,530 a month, which is $126 more than what she's making, about an 8.5% to 9% increase. Now, she didn't sacrifice anything here. She's still getting that amount until she hits the age of 70. Then she files and claims on her own record, and she transfers from this to that instead. And this will be applicable for the rest of her life. Oh boy, don't need that Facebook thing popping up there. This will be applicable to her for the rest of her life, meaning that it'll be another $126 each and every month times 12. That's $1,500 a year. If she lives another 20 years, that's $30,000, my friends. $30,000 more she will make on Social Security just by using this simple technique called a restricted application. $30,000. That is real money that she now does not need to draw from her IRAs, her other accounts. She can give to her kids. She can do whatever she wants. But that's $30,000 if she lives to she's 90 years old, which is a pretty good probability, actually. So to wrap this up, remember, if you are born in 1950, 1951, 1952, or 1953, and January 1st, 1954, and once you hit the age of 66, go down there and talk to the Social Security Administration about filing a restricted application. And that, again, what that means is you're filing for your spousal benefit, but you're restricting taking your own benefit to allow it to grow at 8% each year, simple interest. And that way, once you hit 70, you can take full advantage of your delayed earnings credits and make a ton more than you would have otherwise. All right, so there's, again, Jane's PIA at full retirement age, Jane's spousal amount at full retirement age, and this is for divorcees too. If you're divorced, the same thing applies. And then Jane's amount on her own record with her delayed earnings credits. All right. Put comments below. This is critical. Tell anybody that you know, if they're born between 1950 and 1953, they need to be looking at this. Now, in practicality, if you were born in 1949, the same thing is still applicable in 1948. The issue is most people born in back then are already taking Social Security, so it's going to be hard to make this benefit work. But if they do, more power to them. But basically, to keep it simple, 1950 to 1953, that's your folks, that's someone, neighbor down the street, tell them to watch the video, call me, or just tell them to go to Social Security directly and talk to them about a restricted application. Seemed like something else I want to talk about that. So don't forget, this is based on Jane having an average index monthly earnings of $2,000 as well. What if she didn't have much more than that? What if she had less than that? What if she had more than that? What if? Let Social Security run the numbers for you and just find out what you could make. If her AIME was $3,000 a month, we're talking a significant amount of delayed earnings credits. That's $3,000 times 8%, times 8%, times 8%, times 8%. Let the SSA run those numbers for you for sure, because it is worth going down there for a half a day to see if you can't qualify for an extra $30,000 in benefits. All right, folks, that's all I have for this episode of Social Security Planning. We'll do a couple scenarios going forward on the ins and outs of when a husband and wife should apply for Social Security, because I think it's pretty important to understand how delayed earnings credits work, how they can benefit you. We're also going to talk about survivor benefits as well. So in this case, Jane is going to survive Bob, because we always have the spouse, the wife surviving the husband, just because if you ever been to a nursing home, you'll see they're stacked full of ladies, certainly not very many men in there. So we're going to have Jane surviving Bob next time and show you what the benefit will be for Jane as a survivor, as opposed to a spouse or as opposed to her own benefit on her own working record. So stay tuned. Always thumbs up. Need the thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Keep doing it's got to be my left hand because it's down there on the right. See that little red thing that says subscribe? Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you can be notified of further comments, but also put the comments down there. You'd be notified of further content, but also put comments below. I mean, I just tell you, comments, they make me happy because it shows people are paying attention. And when you're doing these videos, it's good to get validated like that, believe it or not. So comments below too. I look forward to seeing you on the next episode of the Heritage Wealth Planning YouTube channel. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.